Part 92. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 911. Something interesting. But it has nothing to do with me. Xiao Xian shook his head slightly. Does he know? As the saying goes, ordinary people are not guilty of carrying a jade, and the prescription worth 10,000 gold is a good thing created by the old man Tianyan. Even if the average person gets it. If there is not enough strength, this thing will also be like a ball of fire, burning itself to death. It has nothing to do with you. So you didn't find the ultimate cure-all in it? Butterfly Sword Immortal looked at Xiao Xian with cold eyes. Do you think I will believe these lies? What else? Is it possible that you know what I did in Tianyan Pond? Xiao Xian sneered. If Venerable Mo Yang were here today, he might still be afraid. What could a mere Butterfly Sword Immortal do to him? I don't know though. But, have you ever heard of something called soul searching? Butterfly Sword Immortal smiled slightly. After listening to this soul searching technique, in an instant, the expressions of everyone present changed. Even Qing Yang, who was smiling just now, turned a little pale, looking at Butterfly Sword Immortal with disbelief. What the hell is this? Xiao Xian also felt that something was wrong, and asked Wu Bingqing beside him, is it possible that there is some kind of evil magic? At this time, only then did he notice. Wu Bingqing, who was usually calm, turned pale at this moment, and her eyes were full of nervousness and fear. He looked completely different from his usual calm and cold demeanor. This really surprised Xiao Xian. To know. In the past, Wu Bingqing was definitely a relatively calm person in normal times. Even if you encounter any trouble. In the end, he was able to remain calm, and even in the end, he was able to persuade him with some suggestions or methods. Even when facing the giant beasts and demons. She didn't show it, too panicked and scared. What is it today? Just a soul-searching technique, how could it scare him into this state? Could it be that? Is this soul-searching technique so scary? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but glance at Wu Bingqing twice more. Soul-searching technique. This is a soul-searching spell unique to Qinglei Palace. It can search a person's soul and find the required information from the person's soul. Once the soul-searching technique is launched, no one can hide the secret. Wu Bingqing couldn't help but said, moreover, once the soul-searching technique erodes the soul into the divine palace, the person's soul will be harmed. Hear this. Xiao Xian frowned slightly. He has heard that in some sects, there are soul-searching techniques that specifically target human souls. Originally, he thought that this kind of technique would only be used by small sects that were not popular. But now, listen to the meaning of Butterfly Sword Fairy. The dignified Venerable Mo Yang would actually use this method to obtain the soul memories of ordinary cultivators. Isn't this ridiculous? Anyway, this Venerable Mo Yang is a master of the Golden Body Realm and the disciple of Old Man Tianyan. Whenever he makes a move, it should at least be extremely remarkable, and he should not be able to compare with an ordinary Kangshen realm like Xiao Xian. Who knows now? Butterfly Sword Immortal even used the soul-searching technique. Xiao Xian would definitely not believe it if this was not authorized by Lord Mo Yang. Interesting. I have heard that soul-searching techniques, which target divine souls, do not exist in the light. Why, as the disciple of Lord Mo Yang, Butterfly Sword Immortal, can he still use such a method? Xiao Xian asked politely. Actually, let's talk about it. This question of his can be regarded as a doubt among the elders and masters of the sects in Mingzhou territory. After all, most of the disciples who participated in the Tianyan trial were from sects in the Mingzhou territory. These disciples are all elite disciples in each sect, fresh blood. It can be said. These people are the future of Mingzhou territory. if the butterfly sword immortal uses the soul-searching technique on these disciples. I am afraid that it will cause some damage to their souls. Since then, wouldn't it have affected the future of the entire Mingzhou territory? Such an ending is probably not acceptable to them. Think of this. Some local sects in the Mingzhou territory couldn't help but focus on the butterfly sword immortal. I want to hear her explanation. But their gazes and questions were obviously unnecessary. Faced with such a look, not only did butterfly sword immortal show no fear, he sneered, "Searching your Mingzhou domain disciples is what Venerable Mo Yang wants. Do you want to disobey Venerable Mo Yang?" One sentence. The elders and sect masters of the sects in Mingzhou territory were instantly silenced. Indeed, Venerable Mo Yang is one of the few strong men in the Golden God realm on the eastern wilderness continent. Such a level of existence. Just when all the sects were surprised. On that note, Leng Aolin is the leader of the Snow Wolf sect. This made Xiao Xian look at him with admiration. Xiao Xian turned his head. There are so many people in Mingzhou territory. I think what sect leader Leng of the Snow Wolf sect said makes sense. In the Mingzhou territory, the Snow Wolf sect has always been a more independent one and will not easily participate in some things in the Mingzhou territory. It is not the strongest sect in Mingzhou territory. Most people really can't change anything. I think that although Xiao Xian is a disciple. After looking around, this made Xiao Xian feel a little more contemptuous. Therefore, Dai Sword Immortal does not take the sects of Mingzhou territory seriously, but it is enough to prove that they do not look like good people. After all, the strength of Mingzhou domain is relatively weak among the 100 and hundreds domains in the eastern wilderness continent. Judging from the Xianming Qi on his body, this person should be from Xianming sect. Basically at the General Assembly. Therefore, he has no right to speak in front of Venerable Mo Yang. It is definitely not something that ordinary people can challenge. Everyone looked back and saw that the person speaking was an old man with a dragon-headed walking stick and a goatee. However, just this sense of responsibility is enough to put other sects to shame. None of them spoke. But he saw that all the elders and masters of the sects who had spoken before had closed their mouths. All along. However, what he said is not unreasonable. The Snow Wolf sect is in terms of strength. Suddenly there was another voice. In comparison, the performance of the so-called right path such as Shillong sect, Golden Blade sect and even King Hua Academy in these matters is indeed a bit disappointing. As the sect leader, Leng Aolin suddenly stood up. Interesting. They all exist at the tail end of a crane and never achieve anything. Could it be that no one feels that there is something wrong with what Butterfly Sword Immortal did today? Leng Aolin stood up and said, "I think that even if Venerable Mo Yang is here, he probably won't use a technique like soul searching casually. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 912. Old Xianming. I didn't expect Old Man Xianming to show up. Moreover, Old Man Xianming actually helps us ordinary disciples to speak. This is really touching. The disciples of various sects in Mingzhou territory were a little embarrassed. After all, before that, almost all the disciples of Mingzhou domain regarded Xianming sect as an evil sect and slandered and suppressed it. When mentioning the disciples of Xianming sect, they all gritted their teeth. But now, apart from the Snow Wolf sect, the only person who helps them speak is the Xianming sect. Isn't this the greatest irony? Once the sect you despise the most. Instead, it becomes a sect that helps you. At this moment, the faces of Old Man Shilong, Li Guangdao, Kang Long and other sect leaders were not good looking, and their faces were burning with pain. It was like being slapped in the face. Of course they all know. The soul-searching technique is extremely harmful to practitioners. As long as you are not careful, you may cause irreparable harm to the talented cultivator. From then on, he lost his qualifications to practice. Moreover, things like soul-searching books are generally used for heinous evil cultivators. How would it be used on ordinary disciples? Could it be that just because these disciples participated in the baptism of Tianyan, they have to endure such treatment? And this is just to find the golden cure. To put it bluntly, it was just for Venerable Qinjiang's selfish interests. Is this a bit too much? However, they could only imagine this in their hearts and did not dare to say it out loud, much less to say it to Butterfly Sword Immortal directly. Interesting. If I remember correctly, one of you is from the Snow Wolf sect and the other is from the Xianming sect, right? Is it possible that you are going against Venerable Mo Yang's wishes? Butterfly Sword Immortal said directly and politely. Hear this. Xiao Xian still had a bit of sarcasm on his face. After all, no matter what, this Venerable Mo Yang is a strong man in the Golden God realm, a figure of this level. Logically speaking, you shouldn't argue with the ordinary Kangshen realm. You shouldn't argue with some ordinary spiritual God realm disciples. Even if you are looking for $1 million prescription, it doesn't seem like you have reached the point of using soul-searching techniques on disciples in the spiritual God realm. On the one hand, as a person in the Golden God realm who specializes in the spiritual God realm, it is indeed a bit of a loss. On the other hand, Venerable Mo Yang, as a native of the Golden God realm of the Eastern Barren Continent, should have the purpose of protecting the sects of the Eastern Barren Continent. Only in this way can he inherit the mantle of Old Man Tianyan. Where is he like him? As soon as he takes action, is he specifically targeting his own sect? Isn't this a bit too much? Figure this out. Xiao Xian simply stood up and said, I'm sorry, I don't know Lord Mo Yang, and I don't know how to accept the soul search technique. What? Xiao Xian, you are very courageous. Do you know what you just said? You actually despise the authority of Lord Mo Yang? I think you are really tired of living. Don't wait for Butterfly Sword Immortal to say more. A group of elders and sect masters stood up. Regarding the performance of these people, Xiao Xian sneered. He could feel that there was something unusual in it. After all, I really want to talk about it. He kind of knew that Butterfly Sword Immortal was in the Blue God realm. Even if she used Venerable Mo Yang's tiger skin as a banner, it didn't seem to be so intimidating. It can make the old men Kanglong and Chilong so afraid. Even Qingyang stopped talking. This is indeed a strange thing. From a certain perspective, although the performance of Kanglong and others is a bit disgusting, the reason is not that they have no spine. On the contrary, we can still find some clues from their performance. Could it be that? On this Butterfly Sword Immortal. What's so great about it that makes them so afraid? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian frowned slightly, and his mind slowly gathered. The ancient power of chaos began to slowly spread towards the Butterfly Sword Immortal. Chaos. This is the source of all things. On the great Dao continent, there will be traces of chaos in everything. As an comprehender of the Tao of chaos, Xiao Xian can also understand some of the charm of the Tao of chaos. Perhaps, when facing a powerful person in the Golden God realm, his chaos Dayun is a bit shallow. But now, there are some Kangshen realm practitioners in front of him, and he is running the chaos Dayun, which is naturally impossible for ordinary people to detect. On that note, ordinary people are really no match for him. Sure enough, after his slow exploration, he discovered something unusual about the Butterfly Sword Immortal. Turn out to be in the body of Butterfly Sword Fairy. It seemed that someone had planted a black wheel-turning circle. The magic circle is moving all the time, and every time it moves, it can instill a wonderful power into the body of Butterfly Sword Immortal. This kind of power cannot be said to be very powerful. But it's extremely mysterious. Just a little glance. Xiao Xian felt that these mysterious powers could be used by Butterfly Sword Immortal anytime and anywhere. This is definitely a novel thing to know. For ordinary practitioners, the power of the Great Avenue exists in the Sea of Qi. The power of the Divine Soul exists in the Divine Palace. This is beyond doubt. Therefore, cultivators spend their whole lives and practice hard just to expand their magical talismans and Qi Si. Improve your own power at once. Who knows now? After the Butterfly Sword Immortal has this magical wheel-turning circle, he can actually use external power? Isn't that what it means? Even if Butterfly Sword Immortal doesn't practice, she still has power that outsiders can't use up. For ordinary practitioners, isn't this a great thing? Interesting. No wonder, Dai Sword Immortal, a mere blue god realm, can actually make Kang Long and other blue god realms so fearful. This is the reason. Will circle. If my guess is correct, this thing should have been left to her by Venerable Mo Yang, and it should contain the cultivation of a powerful person in the Golden God realm. Xiao Xian thought secretly. He also knows. On the Great Dao continent, there are powerful people like clouds. Although, with the Way of Chaos, he may not have any opponents in the initial realm of Kangshen realm. But from a certain perspective, he faced a strong man in the Golden God realm, even if it was just a trace of the power left by the strong man in the Golden God realm. All are extremely difficult. Even, extremely dangerous. If this crazy woman, Butterfly Sword Immortal, takes the initiative, it might really cause him a lot of harm. Interesting. It depends on what you mean. Is it possible that you still want to go against Venerable Mo Yang's wishes? I have to say that you are indeed very courageous, but in this world, being courageous is of no use. What you need more is strength. Butterfly Sword Immortal glanced at Leng Alan and Old Man Xianming contemptuously. I can give you a chance. If you are willing to take back what you just said, maybe you won't have to suffer the erosion of Mo Yang's heart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 913. Hear this. The expressions of Leng Alan and Old Man Xianming changed instantly. Naturally, they have all heard of Venerable Mo Yang's name, but they have never seen him take action. A strong man in the Golden God realm. Strength is naturally no small matter. However, they really didn't expect that Venerable Mo Yang could hide his power in the body of Butterfly Sword Immortal. There is also the legendary Mo Yang's heart. The power of erosion? What exactly is it? What will be the consequences if it is eroded by Mo Yang's heart? Dare to ask Butterfly Sword Immortal. I don't know, is there anything wrong with what we said? Leng Alan's face was cold. Among my disciples in the Mingzhou realm, those who are qualified to participate in the baptism of Tianyan are basically extremely elite. If they are all subjected to the soul-searching technique, I am afraid that they will damage the soul and the palace. I also need the butterfly sword. God have mercy. This makes sense. For a time, it was also a cultivator's heart in the deep Mingzhou realm. Only. Now Leng Alan was facing Butterfly Sword Immortal. Judging from the latter's intentions, she obviously had no intention of bypassing these people. On the contrary. Judging from the cold look on her face. She also needs to spend more time and effort on these things. Hee. What kind of talented disciples can there be in the Mingzhou territory? I think it's better for you not to waste any more time. Otherwise, wouldn't you be asking for trouble? Say it. All the disciples in Mingzhou domain also had cold expressions. All know. Butterfly Sword Immortal is a character from the middle of the Eastern Wilds continent. Learned from Venerable Mo Yang. He can be regarded as a master from a famous family. But even so, so what? Is it possible that among these people, it is impossible for a disciple with amazing talents to appear? Is it impossible for a genius to emerge? Is this a bit too cynical? But nevertheless, they just dare to be angry but dare not speak out. After all, if you really want to talk about it, some people don't dare to confront Dai Sword Fairy and Lord Mo Yang behind her. But for Xiao Xian, instead, he became calmer. With the power of chaos, it is not impossible for him to defeat the butterfly sword immortal, but now he is curious about how to resist the power of the wheel-turning array. Judging from the situation just now, this wheel-turning array actually contains the power of Venerable Mo Yang, a powerful person in the Golden God realm. This is no simple matter. I really want to talk about it. There is such power. Butterfly Sword Immortal indeed has the capital to be arrogant. However, even so, Xiao Xian was not necessarily afraid. On the contrary, he became curious about the wheel formation. After all, put it on ordinary practitioners. To have such a wheel-turning circle in the body must be extremely painful. The original Tao power in one's own body and the Tao power of others in the wheel-turning circle should be incompatible. But now, Butterfly Sword Immortal didn't even look in pain. This made Xiao Xian a little curious. Could it be that Venerable Mo Yang is so good at merging the energy in the wheel-turning circle with the energy cultivated by Butterfly Sword Immortal himself? In other words, mutual reinforcement. If that's the case, Venerable Mo Yang's strength is terrifying. Any magic circle can increase the strength of the Kengshen realm expert several times. Well, if he has more magic circles, wouldn't it be possible to mass-produce such strong men? For this, Xiao Xian was also secretly surprised. However, on the surface, Xiao Xian still chuckled. Aren't the words of Butterfly Sword Immortal a little inappropriate? Hear this. Butterfly Sword Immortal sneered, whether it's suitable or not, what can you do? This sounds arrogant. But in fact, she does have arrogance. Normally, she would never encounter so many people who oppose her. With the support of Venerable Mo Yang behind him. Basically, all the practitioners were trembling with fear when they saw her. However, today I met Xiao Xian. This actually aroused her interest. As one of the lover disciples of Venerable Mo Yang, although her name is not pleasant, there is no doubt about her strength. At least, just rely on the wheel-turning circle in her body. It is definitely not something that ordinary people can compete with. However, for such a long time, basically everyone on the Eastern Wilderness continent knew her transcendent identity. No one dared to provoke. Who knew that today, when she was working on the orders of Lord Mo Yang, she would encounter such a tough guy as Xiao Xian? Are you planning to refuse the soul-searching technique? Doesn't this mean you don't take Venerable Mo Yang seriously? For such people, naturally, she wanted to kill as a warning to let these people know that on the Eastern Wilderness continent, Venerable Mo Yang's words cannot be violated. Ha ha ha. It seems that Venerable Mo Yang has not appeared for many years, and the people on the Eastern Wilderness continent have lost their respect for him. Dai Sword Immortal suddenly looked around and smiled. Although, her pretty face and curvy figure are very attractive, and the gauze skirt also makes her delicate body looming. However, what she is doing at this moment, it's truly chilling. Venerable Mo Yang, this is one of the three powerful men in the realm of the Golden God on the Eastern Wilderness continent. A person of this level. It is definitely not something that ordinary people can disobey. Then take a look. You have inherited some of Venerable Mo Yang's skills, right? Xiao Xian sneered. Not caring his attitude. Needless to say, he will naturally become the first target of Butterfly Sword Immortal. Haha, interesting. People who don't know whether to live or die. Could it be that you can still defeat the wheel-turning circle left by Venerable Mo Yang? Butterfly Sword Immortal turned around, and in his bare hands, a gorgeous long sword appeared out of thin air, with the sharp tip pointing directly at Xiaoxian. It can be seen from the strong wind on the sword tip. This time, if Butterfly Sword Immortal takes action, Xiaoxian may be in danger. Zhang Fulong and Wu Bingqing also stood beside Xiaoxian, looking at the Butterfly Sword Immortal with fear in their eyes. See the actions of the two people. Xiaoxian was also deeply moved. He knew that although these two people didn't say much, they showed their attitude with their actions. What surprised Xiaoxian was Leng Aolan and old man Xianming actually looked at each other and stood beside him. Seems to help him too. This fact really surprised Xiaoxian. After all, what Butterfly Sword Immortal just said made it very clear that going against her is going against Lord Mo Yang. He originally thought, with the reputation of Venerable Mo Yang, there should be no one who dares to confront the Butterfly Sword Immortal head-on. Who knew that so many people would come forward, which really touched and surprised him. Needless to say, Zhang Fulong and Wu Bingqing. They are considered allies now, and it is normal for them to stand up. As for Leng Aolan and old man Xianming, Xiaoxian had no connection with them. Who knew that they could become allies now? Xiaoxian couldn't help but look back. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 914. Thank you all. However, this matter was provoked by Xiaoxian, so you don't need to get involved to avoid any inconvenience. Xiaoxian slightly arched his hands. The help of these people was declined. He knew that no matter Zhang Fulong or Wu Bingqing, they were not just one person, but a whole family. Even Leng Aolan and old man Xianming. They all speak out for their own sect. Perhaps, provoking a mere Butterfly Sword Immortal is nothing now, but if it is Venerable Mo Yang, he will settle old scores later. They were in more or less trouble. On the contrary, Xiaoxian was alone. He won't care about these things. Even if he provokes the Butterfly Sword Immortal or even Venerable Mo Yang, he may not be much afraid. Young friend Xiaoxian, you're welcome. There are many disciples from our various sects in the Heavenly Flame Baptism, and those who can participate in the Heavenly Flame Baptism today are all elite. If the soul is squeezed by the soul-searching technique, wouldn't it shake the foundation of our sect? Leng Aolan and old man Xianming looked at each other. Zhang Fulong also nodded. In fact, as the young sect leader of the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce, he naturally understood what those elite disciples in a sect represented. That is the future of a sect. If today, let these disciples be harmed, the future of their sect is worrying. Say it. Kang Long, old man Shi Long, Li Guangdao and others also looked a little hesitant. They are also the sect masters of the sect, so they naturally understand that what Leng Aolan and the old man Xianming said just now are true. Only, with their courage, they really didn't dare to confront the Butterfly Sword Immortal head-on. He just lowered his head and made a slight nod. What are you going to do? Do you want to fight against Butterfly Sword Immortal alone? Wu Bingqing and Xiaoxian had been together the longest, and at this time, she could roughly guess what the latter meant. But here it comes. She was also a little worried. After all, Butterfly Sword Immortal was also a lover's disciple trained by Venerable Mo Yang himself. His physical strength is naturally not weak. As for Xiaoxian, he was just an ordinary disciple in Qinghua Academy before, and he didn't even receive much basic Qinghua Academy benefits. Under such circumstances, Xiaoxian wants to fight against Butterfly Sword Immortal. Is he at a bit of a disadvantage? Thinking of this, Wu Bingqing couldn't help but feel a little worried. Don't worry. I really want to try to see how capable the so-called Sword Immortal is. Faced with the concerns of many people, Xiao Xian, on the other hand, was indifferent. Judging from the previous situation, it seems that no one can stop me. You. All right. Wu Bingqing wanted to say something else. However, after hearing Xiao Xian's last words, he could only shake his head helplessly. Indeed. For Xiao Xian, after joining Qinghua Academy for so long, basically no one can pose any threat to him. Therefore, it is normal for him to say such things. Haha. It's a bit surprising. I didn't expect that a cultivator from Zhongzhou would actually challenge me in the mere Mingzhou territory. Butterfly Sword Immortal sneered instead. Her pretty face was full of contempt. She raised the long sword in her hand, pointed at Xiao Xian, and said, "Do you know, maybe in the Mingzhou territory, you are a genius, but in Zhongzhou, you are like this to many people." Say it. Xiao Xian was non-committal. However, some elders and masters of the sects present were silent for a while. They know. Although Butterfly Sword Immortal is arrogant, what he said is also true. Because he has the support of Lord Mo Yang behind him, even if the Butterfly Sword Immortal does something extreme, he may not be punished in the end. On that note, maybe most people will be jealous, but this is also a fact. Brother Xiao Xian. Why don't I come forward to mediate? Venerable Mo Yang is considered a person of status on Dao Dao continent and will not specifically get into trouble with you. Zhang Fulong stood up. Regarding Zhang Fulong's words, Xiao Xian can naturally understand the reasoning, but he understands better about practitioners like Butterfly Sword Immortal. The best way to deal with it? The only way is to use strong methods. Only by showing one's own strength can a person like Butterfly Sword Fairy, who has an eye above his head, feel fear. The serious sword is unsheathed. A golden cold light suddenly appeared. Dai Sword Immortal was secretly startled by the sudden sword wind that appeared near Tianyan Pond. Ordinarily, she is considered one of the stronger sword cultivators. Although Venerable Mo Yang's swordsmanship is not as good as that of his elder brother Sword God Demon Dragon, despite this, a casual word can benefit a person in the Kengshen realm a lot. Butterfly Sword Immortal is his lover and disciple. Naturally, a lot of benefits have been gained. From this point of view, ordinary sword cultivators have no ability to face the Butterfly Sword Immortal. As for now, seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, she hesitated somewhat. She had never seen such a powerful swordsman before. Some of the weaker cultivators in the spiritual realm tightened their expressions and quickly used their Tao power to protect their hearts. Even figures like Kang Long and Old Man Shilong. This is a normal thing. All the Kengshen realm masters present couldn't help but take a few steps back. In the future, there may be even greater trouble. For a moment, the swift and fierce sword wind flew straight towards Xiao Xian's eyebrows. Elder Qing Yang, one of the 8 tripod-holding elders of Qinglei Palace, was also looking at Xiao Xian with solemn eyes at this moment. "I saw Xiao Xian's strength today," said. It made a deafening sound. Dust flew and the pond burst. "I waited for this opportunity. Today I will let you see what the Dai Wu sword technique is." Looking at Xiao Xian's appearance, Qing Yang also frowned tightly. As long as there is a good opportunity, it is very simple to break through the Blue God realm. But he also has some abilities. After all, many practitioners of the great perfection of the spiritual God realm are only a small chance away from the Blue God realm. Seeing the fierce approach of Butterfly Sword Immortal, Xiao Xian did not hesitate, drew out the serious sword and rushed towards her. After what happened today, they, Qinglei Palace, may have had quite a conflict with Xiao Xian. The great perfection of the spiritual God realm breaks through to the Blue God realm. They couldn't help but frown tightly. He didn't know whether it was good or bad to offend such a talented disciple. Before Xiao Xian entered the Tianyan Pond, he was just a perfect master of the spiritual God realm, but now he has become a master of the Blue God realm. The long sword in the hand of Butterfly Sword Fairy is like a butterfly among flowers. Elder Qingyang also understands. According to previous news, he couldn't help but be secretly surprised. So at this moment, however, there are very few people like Xiaoxian who can fight against Butterfly Sword Immortal without losing after just breaking through the Blue God realm. Silver and gold swords clashed together. This sun cannot be kept. There was fear in his eyes. The impact of the huge power of the avenue even caused the space to vibrate. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 915. Break. Dai Wu Sword Technique. Butterfly Sword Fairy waved the long sword in his hand. The whole body is covered with a layer of silver light, and the power of the avenue is condensed, causing countless winds to roll in the surrounding space. A sword thrust out. It seems to carry countless powers. Coming straight to Xiaoxian's neck. Xiaoxian didn't care about this. In the past few battles, he had already roughly understood the strength of this butterfly sword immortal. Although it is much stronger than ordinary Kangshen realm experts. But Xiaoxian can still feel it. With his pure Yangwuji swordsmanship, he easily defeated the butterfly sword immortal. After all, Xiaoxian was originally a talented disciple. In addition to the powerful power of the Dao, he also had the majestic power of the soul. Under such strong power, the ordinary Kangshen realm is naturally no match. As for the butterfly sword immortal, if she didn't use the will formation, she wouldn't even be able to fight Xiaoxian. After using several butterfly dance sword techniques, Butterfly Sword Immortal was also surprised to find out. Although her long sword has already circulated a strong power of the avenue, these powers have not yet touched Xiaoxian. It has been easily resolved by the latter. Let alone hurt him, you can't even touch him. The strength is superior. Natural distinction. Dai Sword Immortal's expression became increasingly gloomy. As the disciple of Lord Mo Yang, she naturally has her own dignity and pride. Over the years, as long as she takes action, it is basically difficult to find an opponent in the Blue God realm. Who knows? I actually suffered such a big loss from Xiaoxian today. This naturally made her angry and ashamed. She also knew her master's temper. His nature is like fire and his temper is like thunder. More importantly, Venerable Mo Yang is a person who takes things very seriously, just like now, since he sent Butterfly Sword Immortal to find the 10,000 gold prescription. Then Dai Sword Fairy must do this well. If not done well, she will be punished too. As for the content of the punishment, I'm afraid it will be very dangerous. If it doesn't work, her life will be lost here. Think of this. Butterfly Sword Immortal's eyes were also a little more fierce. If she couldn't establish authority over Xiaoxian, how could she use the soul search technique to find traces of the 10,000 gold prescription today? Whispering Circle. It seems that today I am going to let you know what real power is. Butterfly Sword Immortal's eyes were gloomy. In her danshan, powerful avenues of power emerged from it and condensed directly on her body. He even had a hint of medical skills. This is the medical skill of Venerable Mo Yang. Oh my God! Venerable Mo Yang even used his own medical skills. He seems to be very interested in the 10,000 gold prescription. It's unbelievable, then Xiaoxian will lose today. I saw a medical skill appearing on the body of Butterfly Sword Immortal. Everyone present also sighed. To know. Venerable Mo Yang is the only disciple of Old Man Tianyan who practices medical skills. It is said that his medical skills have reached the point of being unpredictable. Take a little action. It can cure thousands of diseases in the world. Even his two senior brothers, Mo Long and Mo Wonking, who were both in the Golden God realm, also praised his medical skills. Just rely on this. He is also an amazing character. Just now. Butterfly Sword Immortal actually has the aura of his master, Venerable Mo Yang. This is definitely extremely bad news for Xiaoxian. What do you plan to do? It depends on what you mean. Do you still want to fight with me? There is a medical aura about him. Butterfly Sword Immortal was no longer as sharp as before, and just chuckled. I have to say, you are the strongest opponent I have ever seen, but if you stop now, I can spare your life. Hear this. Xiaoxian was a little curious instead. Speaking of which, Butterfly Sword Immortal didn't use the wheel-turning circle just now, yet he had the courage to take the initiative to cause trouble for him. How come we are now? They have already used the wheel formation. Instead, you took the initiative to give in? What's the point? Could it be possible that using this wheel-turning circle would also cause some harm to herself? This is not impossible. On the contrary, this is very possible. After all, if you really want to talk about it, if the power of the wheel-turning circle is used, the strength of the Butterfly Sword Immortal will definitely be greatly enhanced. But why did she give in instead? To this, Xiaoxian also had some hesitation. To be honest, he doesn't have any unending hatred for Butterfly Sword Immortal. At most, it was just a few words of ridicule. Such a thing. To him, it was nothing at all. It's not even worth his attention. As for the real conflict and disagreement with Butterfly Sword Immortal, it's just that he doesn't want to accept the soul-searching technique, that's all. If Dai Sword Fairy is willing to give in, he was willing to accept it? Simply. Xiaoxian also nodded slightly and said, I don't want to die, and at the same time, I don't want to accept the soul-searching technique. Good. You can make an exception. Dai Jianxian agreed quickly. And Xiaoxian turned his head, looked at Wu Bingqing, and said, she is my friend. Okay, Butterfly Sword Immortal nodded. Then how should the disciples in our sect, Butterfly Sword Immortal, deal with it? I heard Butterfly Sword Immortal's concession to Xiaoxian. Leng Aolan and Old Man Xianming were also secretly surprised. They originally thought, when Butterfly Sword Immortal awakens the wheel-turning circle in his body, he should have a fierce battle with Xiaoxian. Who knows? Are you actually giving in now? Even Butterfly Sword Immortal took the initiative to step down for Xiaoxian? This really made them a little confused. They all know. As the disciple of Lord Mo Yang, Butterfly Sword Immortal's strength and status are unquestionable. Logically speaking, if Xiaoxian encounters such a person, if he does not show enough strength, he will definitely suffer a big loss in the end. Why now? How could he escape so easily? Even the Butterfly Sword Immortal voluntarily gave up trying to trouble him. Isn't this a bit strange? Could it be said that Xiaoxian's strength has reached a point where even the Butterfly Sword Immortal is afraid? Figure this out. The disciples and elders were also secretly surprised. At the same time, their minds also became alive. Since Xiaoxian cannot accept the erosion of soul-searching techniques, doesn't it mean that they can too? But when their eyes met the Butterfly Sword Immortal, but they were all shocked. Turn out to be. Butterfly Sword Immortal's face suddenly turned cold at this time. Except for those two. Other disciples in the Mingzhao domain must accept the soul-searching technique. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 916. What? Why? Why should he, Xiaoxian, be an exception? Old Man Qilong was angry. In the Mingzhao domain, he is also a relatively famous figure. Even people like Kang Long and Li Guangdao were only on par with him in terms of strength. He was furious when he heard the words of Dai Sword Immortal today. if Xiao Xian is an exception. They also use soul-searching techniques to target their Shillong sect disciples. Wouldn't it be better to let all the disciples of Shillong sect accept the soul-searching technique? He was a little dissatisfied with such unfair treatment. Whoosh! Then you die. While talking, a flying sword appeared in the hand of Butterfly Sword Immortal. Go straight to the throat of Old Man Shillong. This move was extremely fast. Although Old Man Shillong reacted quickly, he activated the Shillong Kung Fu in time. But the gray-white defensive armor has not yet taken shape. The flying sword penetrated his throat, until scarlet blood gushes from his throat. The sect disciples and elders present realized that Elder Shillong was dead. Kill instantly with one move. Old Man Shillong was killed with one move. This really surprised everyone in Mingzhou territory, and they all looked at Butterfly Sword Immortal in disbelief. To know, Old Man Shillong is definitely a powerful figure in Mingzhou territory. Moreover, he was extremely powerful in the Stone Dragon technique, and his defensive power was astonishing. Some of the powerful men from the Mingzhou realm present did not dare to say that they could guarantee to break through his defense. Who knows? Now Butterfly Sword Fairy's random move. Can the vitality of Old Man Shillong be cut off with one sword? From this point of view, ordinary people really don't have the means like Butterfly Sword Immortal. Len Aolin and Old Man Xianming also looked at each other, quite frightened in their hearts, looking at the Butterfly Sword Immortal with strange eyes. Now, does anyone else have a different opinion? Butterfly Sword Immortal turned his head and looked around with a cold face. Facing such a fierce female swordsman, all the elders in the Mingzhou realm were also secretly surprised, and no one dared to raise a different opinion. Xiao Xian himself, on the other hand, looked at these elders of Mingzhou territory silently. A bit sniffy. Then, when he was still in the spiritual realm, from after the Qinglian Valley to before the baptism of Tianyan, these so-called strong men in the Kangshen realm often deliberately seek trouble for him. Unexpectedly, at this critical moment, everyone is pretending to be deaf and dumb. It was as if he had not heard what Butterfly Sword Fairy said. To know, if the Butterfly Sword Immortal plans to use the soul-searching technique, the first to be harmed will be the disciples of their own sect. Kang Long, Li Guangdao and other sect leaders. You don't even dare to fart? Ridiculous. With this kind of Mingzhou realm, it is inevitable that it will decline in the future. Xiao Xian sneered, found a spot at random, and waited silently for other Tianyan trial disciples to come out. A long time, along with the strange movement in Tianyan Pond began. The various sect disciples who participated in Tianyan's baptism basically walked out slowly. Xiao Xian is also slowly savoring the power of Butterfly Sword Immortal. Judging from the previous strength, it should have surpassed the average Kangshen realm. Even an intermediate person in the Blue God realm would suffer somewhat in front of the Butterfly Sword Immortal just now. Among ordinary sects, it would be difficult to obtain these powers. However, considering that Butterfly Sword Immortal is the disciple of Venerable Mo Yang, it doesn't seem that difficult for her to obtain some powers that ordinary people don't have. On that note, perhaps, in the future, if Xiao Xian encounters Butterfly Sword Immortal again, he needs to think carefully about how to deal with it. Mensu and Wu Sheng also walked out of the Tianyan Pond. Judging from the auras on their bodies, it was obvious that they had also benefited a lot from the Tianyan Pond. As for Lei Kong Qinglong and the others, they didn't show up until Tianyanqi became calm again. The solution is also obvious, that is, they have died in the Tianyan Pond. How can this be? Lai Kong is in the great perfection of the spiritual god realm, and he still has the 9 heavens blue thunder from my blue thunder palace on him. How could he die? What happened inside? Qingyang was furious. He lost his temper at the disciples of King Glai Hall. Kang Long's face was also ashen. Among the disciples of King Hua Academy, only Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing, whom he disliked the least, came out. Kong Dao, Meng Fan. Not even Qing Long, who was number one in the inner sect, came out. These are all elite disciples recently trained by Qinghua Academy. They disappeared inexplicably like this. Naturally, Kang Long felt endless anger, and in the end, he cast his cold eyes on Xiao Xian. For these looks, Xiao Xian didn't care at all. Because now, Kang Long is no longer his opponent. As long as he wanted to, he could even kill Kang Long casually. But what he is more concerned about now is the baptism of Tianyan. Based on previous judgments, the baptism of heavenly flame has great benefits for the ordinary spiritual realm. But now, what he doesn't know is whether this baptism of heavenly flames can still be of such great benefit to practitioners in the Kangshen realm. And Qinghua College once had some records. As long as you have enough powerful Tianyan power and achieve the baptism of the 8 dragons, you can obtain the Qinghua body technique. No matter which sect or region you join, you will become a popular figure in this sect and region. Wu Bingqing's face suddenly felt embarrassed. Talk about it? There aren't that many taboos between us. He is definitely a very popular figure in the Eastern Barren continent. This is an Earth-level Taoist technique through and through. This actually made Wu Bingqing beside Xiao Xian feel on pins and needles. Xiao Xian also said casually, however, if it is about Kang Long, you don't need to say more. In fact, what she wanted to talk about was Kang Long. With Xiao Xian's strength and talent. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but turn around and glanced at Kang Long next to him. This is not a bad thing for him, on the contrary, it may be a good thing. Otherwise, Qing Long would not have been ranked second in these years. If you have anything to say, just say it. Wu Bingqing, on the other hand, took the initiative to look at Xiao Xian and hesitated to speak. Xiao Xian will most likely leave Qinghua Academy in the future. Compared with ordinary disciples of Qinghua Academy, her talent is pretty good, but if it is compared to the entire Eastern Barren continent, it is a bit unsatisfactory. Qing Long died as soon as Xiao Xian left. But now, although Kang Long's apprentice is Qing Long, but for Wu Bingqing. After the two looked at each other with gunpowder-filled eyes, they both saw deep hostility in each other's eyes. Seeing Wu Bingqing's appearance. But this time, Qing Long died in the baptism of Tianyan. If Qinghua Academy wants to continue to train disciples, Wu Bingqing must be the best choice. Even if Kang Long planned to get closer in his heart, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed when he saw Xiao Xian's cold face. However, without Xiao Xian as a role model, she, the number one in the inner sect, would be somewhat deceiving the world and stealing her reputation. Wu Bingqing can naturally become the number one in Qinghua Academy. That's not good news. I don't know if Kang Long will fulfill this promise now. Wu Bingqing and Xiao Xian are so close. Judging from today's performance. After all, perhaps, she also has some talents that ordinary people don't have. Unexpectedly, Kang Long was also looking at him at this time. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 917. How? Do you really want to say something about Kang Long? Seeing Wu Bingqing's hesitation, Xiao Xian smiled bitterly and said helplessly, if I remember correctly, Kang Long doesn't seem to have much kindness towards you, does it? After hearing this, Wu Bingqing also nodded slightly. But then, she continued, having said that, Kang Long is the dean of Qinghua College after all. If you insist on going against him, wouldn't it be a lose-lose situation? Double defeat. I don't think that's the case. Since Kang Long, as the dean of Qinghua Academy, cannot treat every academy disciple fairly, then this person is not worthy of being the dean of the academy. Xiao Xian said rudely, I can't maintain a good relationship with such a person. Speaking of which, Wu Bingqing also felt helpless. She was originally a disciple of a big family, and she had dealt with some issues regarding the relationship between big families. But that's the case. She has never seen such a stubborn person as Xiao Xian. Based on her previous experience, she originally thought that Xiao Xian was a disciple of King Hua Academy after all, as long as she persuaded him nicely. Let Kang Long give him a step down. The relationship between Xiao Xian and Kang Long is not without room for relaxation. But now, the situation is a little different. The look Xiao Xian showed made her a little unbelievable, even a little surprised. She found in Xiao Xian's heart. It seemed that Kang Long was not taken seriously at all. It's as if Kang Long is an insignificant character at all. This really made Wu Bingqing a little unbelievable. After all, if you really want to talk about it, Kang Long is still the dean of King Hua Academy, a powerful man in the Kangshen realm. Ever since Wu Bingqing became sensible, she knew that Kang Long, the dean of King Hua Academy, was a powerful Kangshen realm. Over the years, although Kang Long has not broken through to the Kangshen realm, however, he has also been immersed in the Kangshen realm for many years and reached the strength level of a second-star Kangshen realm. Such strength. He is quite famous in Mingzhou territory. Otherwise, Kang Long would have no way to have a say in front of veteran powerhouses such as Old Man Zhilang, Li Guangdao, Leng Aolin, and Old Man Xianming. Such a character. Even strong men like Qing Yang who came from other regions of the Eastern Wilds continent must be treated with respect. But Xiao Xian is better. He actually didn't take this matter to heart at all. It seems that in Xiao Xian's heart, Kang Long is simply a person not worthy of respect. Perhaps Kang Long does have some problems with the management of King Hua Academy. There are some injustices. But it is undeniable that Kang Long can rely on his own ability to make the branch deans of the 8 great meridians bow to him, which is enough to explain the problem. At least, a cultivator like Xiao Xian who has just been promoted to the Blue God realm. It seems that he has no ability to defeat Kang Long. Ahem. Xiao Xian, don't get me wrong, what I mean is, you mean to let me and Kang Long ease the relationship, right? He didn't wait for Wu Bingqing to finish speaking. Xiao Xian interrupted directly and continued, do you feel that your idea is a bit naive? Childish? What do you mean? Wu Bingqing couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. She wanted to ease the relationship between Xiao Xian and Kang Long not for her own selfish gain. On the contrary, she is doing it for the good of King Hua Academy. For Xiao Xian's good. Why is it that when it comes to Xiao Xian, this kind of thing becomes childish? Could it be that in Xiao Xian's heart, everything she did was useless and not worth doing? Think about it. As the dean of King Hua College, Kang Long, for so many years, doesn't he know that he needs to have a good relationship with ordinary colleges? Xiao Xian continued to ask. Of course you should know this. Wu Bingqing thought for a moment, nodded and replied. Then why didn't he have a good relationship with you and me? Xiao Xian asked. Perhaps he is focusing on Qing Long, Wu Bingqing thought for a while and said. Right. Xiao Xian was very satisfied with the answer and continued to ask, then tell me, why Kang Long focuses on Qing Long? There is no need to answer this question. Basically, all disciples of King Hua Academy know it. Qing Long is the #1 inner disciple. He has bloodline advantages, talent advantages, and even King Long's master is Dean Kang Long. With the blessing of such an identity. Not to mention that Kang Long was impressed by him. Even the other branch deans of the 8 meridians regard him as the future star of the academy. All in all, isn't it all due to King Long's extraordinary strength? At this moment, Wu Bingqing also understood what Xiao Xian meant. Maybe it's not that difficult to have a good relationship with Kang Long. All you need to do is to improve your strength. Wait until you have enough strength. Kanglong will naturally come closer. As for his purpose of coming over, it is naturally very simple. It is nothing more than for your ability and future. I see. Thank you for your reminder. I will make good use of this baptism of heavenly flame. Wu Bingqing gritted his teeth and took out the demonic body pill. I will use this baptism of heavenly flame to break through to the blue god realm. See Wu Bingqing's reaction. Xiao Xian also nodded for me and expressed his satisfaction. It is naturally the best for you to have such an idea. I believe that after being baptized by the 8 dragons, your path to promotion to the blue god realm should be smooth. 8 dragons baptism. This is an opportunity that can only be found in legends. A trace of confusion flashed in Wu Bingqing's eyes, but she quickly became firm again. You're right, I will work hard in this direction. See this. Xiao Xian also understood. Wu Bing's liquidation is a clear vision of the future. He, on the other hand, was a little hesitant. He had previously checked some information about the baptism of heavenly flames and knew that the baptism of heavenly flames was of great benefit to the spiritual god realm. There are also many benefits to the blue god realm. It can help practitioners in the Kangshen realm improve their understanding of the Great Road. Therefore, even some powerful men in the Kang God realm in the Mingzhou region are also very interested in the baptism of heavenly flame. If before, he must be absolutely interested in Tianyang baptism. But now, the situation is a little different. The demon leader body elixir he obtained has been devoured by Xiao Lu, although there are other demon body elixirs that can help him obtain the baptism of heavenly flames. It can even help him attack the 8 dragons baptism. But suddenly he felt it. If he can't help him break the way of chaos, even if he is baptized by 8 dragons, what can he do? Is it just some dispensable power of the avenue? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 918. Brother System, what's your suggestion? This time, in the Tianyang pond, I did not leave behind the essence of the heavenly flame beast. Instead, I got some demonic body pills. Do you think it is necessary for me to participate in the heavenly flame baptism? Xiao Xian asked directly. For the system that helps you time and time again. He was still very touched in his heart. Speaking of which, since he came to Daodao continent, the system has indeed given him a lot of advice. These suggestions were later verified to be extremely useful. At the moment, now that we are faced with such a big decision as Tianyang baptism, he was interested and wanted to hear the advice the system gave him. System prompt: this system recommends that the host can use the soul to participate in the baptism of heavenly flames. What? Brother System, is what you said true? When will the soul be able to participate in the baptism of heavenly flame? Hear what the system says. Xiao Xian was stunned instead, a little unexpected. He originally thought, since Tianyang baptism does not bring much benefit to him, the system's suggestions should be similar to his. He will not be allowed to continue participating. Who knew that the system would actually give such a suggestion? The soul participates in the baptism of Tianyang? Is it possible that his reality soul can still benefit from this baptism of heavenly flames? However, in his memory, in the baptism of heavenly flame, the physical body of the cultivator is basically involved. Isn't it a bit too unusual for him to use his soul to participate? In doubt, Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask the system again. Brother System, if this is the case, please don't be too pretentious. Please give me some advice on what I should do if I fall to the ground. Your soul power has already reached the real state, which is not a low level. In this realm, if you are willing, you can create the illusion of Dharmakaya. The baptism of heavenly flames is useless for your Kangshen realm's physical body, but it is very helpful for your Dharma body. The system said, At this moment, you might as well create your own Dharma body and see how strong your Dharma body is. Dharmakaya. Hear this. Xiao Xian was stunned subconsciously. Practiced for thousands of years. He naturally understands the Dharmakaya. According to legend, killing 10,000 people with one sword and breaking through the heavenly gate with one sword are the highest achievements a sword cultivator can achieve. Among them, killing 10,000 people with one sword refers to Dharmakaya. On the ancient continent, when a cultivator reaches a certain level, he can use his spiritual power to condense some Dharma bodies that are slightly weaker than his own. The Dharmakaya can carry with it some of the cultivator's own thoughts and behaviors. The stronger the practitioner's own strength, the stronger the Dharmakaya's strength will be. It is said that after cultivating to the level of Patriarch Hongjun, one can create thousands of illusions of the Dharmakaya in a single thought. These Dharma body illusions can be used by him. Either kill, persuade, intimidate, or intimidate. In some places where the true body is unwilling or unable to appear, the illusion of Dharmakaya is the best way to make use of it. But after coming to Dayadao continent, he discovered that the Dharmakaya could no longer be used. On this continent, there is extremely strong suppression of ordinary practitioners, and the Dharma body cannot be condensed at all. This made Xiao Xian somewhat helpless. After all, before that, as the founding Yuanling, he was once a legendary person on a continent, and everything originated from his single thought. Therefore, it is similar to the illusion of Dharmakaya. It's just something he can create at will. I just didn't expect it. Now on the Dao continent, there seems to be a Dao restriction on him. No matter how he condenses his soul, the illusion of Dharmakaya will no longer appear. Regarding this point, Xiao Xian was quite distressed at first. Now, after the system's guidance, he seemed to know something. Could it be that the baptism of heavenly flames could help him condense the illusion of the Dharma body? If it can be so. He really wanted to participate in the Tianyan baptism. Just imagine, he is now at the beginning of the Blue God realm. Although he relies on the way of chaos, he can fight against some veteran Blue God realm experts. But that's about it. Perhaps, relying on the powerful way of chaos, he cannot fall behind in the battle, but it is difficult to win against those veteran Kangshen realm experts. On that note, if he could take advantage of the baptism of heavenly flames, he could condense an illusion of Dharma body for himself. In the future, when fighting against others, he can also take some initiative. Did not expect. This baptism of heavenly flames has such benefits, but, system brother, according to what you said, I have to use my soul to participate in the trial? Isn't this a bit difficult? Xiao Xian was a little confused. Now, not only are there experts in the Tianyan pond, there are also many strong ones. Although, when the power of his soul reaches the real level, he can be regarded as a peer even in the Kangshen realm. But there are so many people here. Xiao Xian still understands the truth. The system suddenly said. Xiao Xian must be extremely careful with such people. This time, Xiao Xian was even more confused. Venerable Mo Yang is a powerful man in the Golden God realm, so there is no need to get into trouble with a little person like him. But in the end, offer to help? Good. Xiao Xian still made a decision. Since using the soul to participate in the baptism of heavenly flame is a system requirement, he naturally has to do it wholeheartedly. Venerable Mo Yang is a person who will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. If he reaches the eastern wilderness continent, his realm will be nothing and not worthy of others' attention at all. But on the surface, Xiao Xian remained calm and asked directly, I don't know, what kind of help can brother system give me? Could it be that the system has been modified? In that case, make trouble for him. I secretly cursed in my heart. After all, now that he has become enemies with Butterfly Sword Immortal, no one knows whether Venerable Mo Yang will show up in the future. In the past, if he wanted to seek help from the system, it would always be at an emergency and he had no choice but to do so. Xiao Xian had to deal with it carefully. But after thinking about it for a while, this is proof enough. He understood that the system had been with him for such a long time and could not harm him. On that note, not only did Venerable Mo Yang send the butterfly sword immortal here, he even used the soul-searching technique on the ordinary blue god realm and even the spirit god realm. Actually, let's talk about it. Xiao Xian is just a cultivator of Kangshen realm. Such a realm may still have some reputation in the Mingzhou territory. Logically speaking, this is not the case. What happened to the system today? In addition, there is a divine dragon with no head or tail, Venerable Mo Yang. No one knows what accident will happen. However, since the system brother asked me to do this, I will definitely do it well. Finally, this system can also give the host some assistance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 919. This system can temporarily block the outside world's perception of your soul. In this way, no one will threaten the origin of your soul, and you can safely use your soul to participate in the baptism of the heavenly flame. The system said. Hear this. Xiao Xian was immediately overjoyed. He knew that with the tyranny of his soul, in normal times, the average Kangshen realm would not be able to pose a threat. But during the baptism of Tianyan, things are different. Although, he is not worried about the threat brought by Tianyan baptism. However, he could not guarantee that people like Kang Long, Qing Yang, and Dai Ji Unxian would not take action. Judging from the previous situation, these people were already full of hostility towards him, and they all wanted to attack him directly. It's just that they are constrained by each other. On the contrary, no one wants to be the first to take action. In addition, Xiao Xian and the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce were helping him, so people like Kang Long had to think twice if they wanted to take action. But, brother system, since you want to be a good person, then you should be a good person to the end, right? Can you tell me what's going on with this baptism of heavenly flames? Could it be that by using a demon body pill, I can enjoy the increased strength of my soul? Xiao Xian was a little curious. Ever since his soul power reached reality, even though he never slacked off in his soul training every day, his real soul strength had not improved much. This matter has always troubled him. Since breaking through the blue god realm, only then did he realize that the power of the divine soul was indeed very powerful. If he could increase the power of the divine soul again, it would definitely help him a lot. It's a pity. Although the heaven and earth soul searching technique is magical, but for the souls of the real world, it doesn't seem to be that helpful. Every day, the soul searching technique of heaven and earth operates, and the power of the soul is indeed constantly accumulating, but the speed of accumulation is indeed a bit slow. Perhaps, he also needs to think of ways to improve his soul faster. Actually, at this moment, if there are other practitioners around. After hearing what Xiao Xian said, I was afraid that he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. You must know that it is not easy for ordinary practitioners to successfully cultivate the power of the great Dao. Except for truly talented disciples, there is no energy spent on improving the power of the soul. Where is there someone like Xiao Xian who can not only improve his own power of the great Dao, but also accumulate the power of his soul? This is enough to make people envious. But what did Xiao Xian say? Still dissatisfied that the power of the soul is increasing too slowly. Isn't this a good deal? It's so cheap, right? However, Xiao Xian did not feel any problem with these. Does he understand? If he wanted to be strong enough, he had to reach a higher spiritual realm. In this regard, he should not be compared with ordinary disciples. What are you going to do? Aren't you ready to be baptized by 8 dragons? Wu Bingqing was a little suspicious when she saw Xiaoxian's uncertain expression next to him. She also knows Xiaoxian is a very mysterious person. Sometimes, even she was a little unsure of Xiaoxian's next move. But it is undeniable that as long as it is something Xiaoxian is willing to do, it will basically succeed in the end. Moreover, it was a blockbuster success. On that note, Wu Bingqing admires him very much. Now, seeing Xiaoxian's appearance, she couldn't help but ask suspiciously, what are your plans? So, I'm afraid it's a bit shocking if I say it. Xiaoxian hesitated. What? Have you ever heard of the soul participating in the baptism of heavenly flame? What? Wu Bingqing has a black streak on his head. I've heard of arrogance, but never of such arrogance. What does it mean for the soul to participate in the baptism of heavenly flames? Isn't this seeking death? Although, the baptism of heavenly flame is a trial opportunity that most elite disciples in Mingzhou domain value. Generally there are no side effects on the practitioner's body. But that's only for the soul. Now, if Xiaoxian acted so boldly, no one knew whether the energy of the heavenly flame in the heavenly flame baptism would cause harm to his soul. In the baptism of heavenly flames, it relies on the heavenly flame essence to temper the cultivator's body, in order to obtain pure Dao energy and help the cultivator break through the Dao realm. Now, Xiaoxian plans to use the power of his soul to participate in the baptism of heavenly flame. What the hell is this? Is it possible that Xiaoxian also plans to use the baptism of heavenly flames to enhance the realm of the soul? Isn't this a little too dangerous? Not to mention whether the baptism of heavenly flames will be beneficial to the power of the soul. Even if there are some benefits, that is also based on the premise that cultivators have extremely powerful soul power. If there is not enough powerful soul power, use your soul to participate in the trial. Aren't you just looking for death? Thinking of this, Wu Bingqing couldn't help but gasped and said, Xiaoxian, I know you have your own ideas, but if you want to get enough power, it's better not to take risks. Say it. It was a perfectly normal piece of advice. However, Xiaoxian has not spoken yet. Wu Bingqing was a little embarrassed. She vaguely felt that her words of comfort seemed more like superfluous explanations. Xiaoxian, the proud son of heaven. A person who single-handedly defeated the demon leader. The power of the soul is so powerful. There is also the understanding of the great Dao of Kengshen realm. Such a person should not be unaware of the danger, right? Now, she was saying something. Isn't it a bit unnecessary? Ahem, okay. I also know that now that you have made a decision, you must be confident. Wu Bingqing was a little embarrassed and could only explain, however, I still want to advise you to be careful when sailing the 10,000-year ship. The soul is related to the original power, so don't be careless. For Wu Bingqing's kindness, Xiaoxian understood. Leave it to normal times. If he was alone, he would not dare to participate in the baptism of heavenly flames with only the power of his soul. But things are different now. Now that there is a system guarantee. Perhaps, the participation of divine soul power in this baptism of heavenly flames would not necessarily be such a great threat. Figure this out. Xiaoxian smiled slightly, accepting her suggestion. The other side. The situation of Xiaoxian and Wu Bingqing was also seen by other sect elders and masters. Ever since Xiaoxian angered Qing Yang, fought against Butterfly Sword Immortal, and mocked Dean Kanglong, he has become the focus of the Tianyuan Pond. There is no need to say Kanglong. Now, looking at Xiaoxian, he was angry and regretful. He didn't know at the time that Xiaoxian was such a capable and talented disciple. If he had known this earlier, he would not treat Xiaoxian like that. He even had the idea of taking Xiaoxian as his disciple now. However, even he himself understands that this is basically impossible. He is in the Kengshen realm. Xiao Xian is also in the Blue God realm. What ability does he have to accept Xiao Xian as his disciple? However, after thinking about it, Kang Long felt that if he didn't try it, how would he know it was impossible? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 920. Snow Wolf Sect. Leng Aolin watched Mensu lead the team back to the sect. When he found that the disciples in the sect were not injured much, he was very satisfied in his heart. According to the information provided by Xiao Xian before, there are demons in the Tianyan Pond. This is definitely explosive news. The devil is powerful. Even ordinary Kengshen realm would suffer a big loss, so let alone Mensu and other spirit god realm disciples. As for other things, Butterfly Sword Immortal wants to use the soul-searching technique on his sect disciples. That's absolutely impossible. Unless the Butterfly Sword Immortal steps on him. Xianming Sect. Old man Xianming was also quite surprised when he discovered that Wu Sheng actually brought the essence of the heavenly flame beast. For decades, there are many elite disciples in Mingzhou territory who participated in the baptism of Tianyan. However, with the strength of the spiritual god realm, it is unique to hunt down the giant sky flame beast. Therefore, the grand occasion of baptism of 8 dragons. Perhaps it all goes back hundreds of years. Now, seeing Wu Sheng get the essence of the heavenly flame beast, old man Xianming was naturally extremely surprised. With the spirit of the sky flame giant beast here, I think you can also be baptized by the 8 dragons, old man Xianming said with satisfaction. Ashamed to say it, the disciples have also worked hard to deal with this giant beast of sky flame. Wu Sheng turned around, looked at the few disciples around him, and said regretfully, "It is better to use the Xianming formation, otherwise the damage to our disciples will be more serious." After hearing this, all the elders of Xianming sect also became curious. Indeed, although Wu Sheng is a talented disciple of the younger generation of Xianming sect, he is still in the spiritual realm after all. Even if there is a Xianming formation, it can combine the power of the Divine Soul Avenue of all the disciples of Xianming sect. Facing the sky flame behemoths that were around 5 stars in the Blue God realm, their strength was still a bit stretched. How could so many disciples survive? It has been quite difficult. Not to mention, in the end, I got a piece of sky flame giant beast essence, which was enough to make people happy. Did not expect. It's surprising that we can still gain something like this. Tell me, what's going on? Several Xianming sect elders also asked quickly. Speaking of what happened at the bottom of Tianyan Pond, a trace of apprehension flashed across Wu Sheng's face. Actually, the fact that we were able to obtain the essence of the sky flame beast was purely due to luck. That day, a monster craze occurred at the bottom of Tianyan Pond. Countless sky flame beasts emerged from the sky flame pond as if they were going crazy. They didn't look like they were attacking human cultivators. Instead, they seemed to be trying their best to avoid something. Even the huge and powerful sky flame beast was panicked in this frenzy. It seems that something extraordinary happened at the bottom of Tianyan Pond. In other words, there is something at the bottom of the sky flame pond that makes these giant sky flame beasts even more frightened. Wu Sheng was still frightened. Hearing Wu Sheng's words, old man Xianming also nodded. Yes, someone from Qinghua College found traces of the devil at the bottom of Tianyan Pond. Upon hearing this, Wu Sheng was instantly shocked. As a powerful disciple of the younger generation in Mingzhou domain, naturally, he had also heard some legends about demons. However, he did not expect that a monster of this level actually existed, and it also existed in the Tianyan Pond. Thinking of this, Wu Sheng was also surprised. Master, I heard that demons are just legends. I haven't heard that they can really exist. Is what you said true? Questions about Wu Sheng. Old man Xianming did not respond. However, the other elders in Xianming sect looked solemn and said, yes, it was a disciple named Wu Bingqing from King Hua Academy who took out a demon body pill. This. Is there really a race of demons? Could it be that Wu Bingqing is so powerful that he can kill demons? If this is really the case, Wu Bingqing's strength is truly unfathomable. Beside Wu Sheng, some of the disciples who had participated in the Tianyan trial had solemn expressions on their faces, and were almost speechless in surprise. For these words, old man Xianming also secretly praised him. If it were just the demon body pill that Wu Bingqing took out before, he really couldn't believe that there was really a demon race in Tianyan Pond. But it's different now. After Wu Sheng's narration, it seemed that a strange beast tide really happened under the Tianyan Pond. Combined with the demon body elixir in Wu Bingqing's hands. This is enough to explain. Underneath the Tianyan Pond. It seems that there is really a demon race. Shillong sect, Crazy Sword sect, and Golden Sword sect. Their elite disciples also came out of the Tianyan Pond one after another. However, their situation was much worse, with almost half of the disciples not coming out. The other disciples were also frightened. Some can't even speak. Obviously. These people's Taoist hearts have been damaged, and no matter how they practice in the future, it will be difficult for them to take any further steps. For this, Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing were also a little surprised. In fact, in Tianyan Pond, they did not have many conflicts with the disciples of these sects head-on. We haven't even met each other a few times. But I didn't expect it. The mere Skyflame behemoth had already frightened them into looking like this. If they see the demon race again, won't they be swallowed up in one bite? Such a disciple. How can you be considered an elite? Isn't this a joke? For these disciples with poor psychological quality. Perhaps, one day in the future, he will not be able to break through his own psychological curse, and he will just be an ordinary disciple. Did not expect. These disciples are so bad. Xiao Xian said casually. After hearing this, Wu Bingqing was really surprised. You must know that among the sects present now, there are disciples and elders from each section. They can exist because they naturally have their own abilities. Who knows now? Xiao Xian didn't give any face to these elder sect masters. Are they blatantly saying that their disciples are all useless? Isn't this looking for trouble? Not to mention what these disciples would think in their hearts, their sect masters and elders would not agree, right? Xiao Xian, is he really such an arrogant person? But what surprised Wu Bingqing was. After Xiao Xian finished saying this, the elders and sect leaders in these sects were all silent, not even daring to fart. It's like being scared. In this regard, Wu Bingqing was stunned at first. Then, he suddenly smiled with relief. Indeed, these people's reactions seem to be normal reactions as they should be. Joke. Who is Xiao Xian? Besides Wu Bingqing, the only ruthless character who survived the demon race. Not to mention how he survived, just relying on the operation of the hard steel butterfly sword immortal in front of him was enough to shock everyone. In the Mingzhou territory. Not to mention ordinary disciples, not even the sect leader and elders would have the courage.